Greetings and welcome to the All You Can Geek Moviecast. With me tonight is Tony Korkanakis,
Yo,
Mike Snee,
What's up?
and me, your host, Corey Feinsod. As you can see or hear, Jim is not with us tonight. He has some other plans, and so we are going to be moving on without him. So
good
let's
riddance.
get in.
I mean,
Let's get
Fighting words
into
for
the
Jim.
box office because um, there was a big movie released this weekend
little movie
with
or big movie
oh
or little
a
big?
little
A
bit,
Little
a
big.
little bit.
a medium-sized movie in reality, but
But jokes aside, Ant-Man and the Wasp in Quantumania was number one at the box office with a 3-day weekend total of 105, but a 4-day because of the holiday it hit 120. And I think I was expecting 120 for a 3-day weekend, but it's a little lower than that with the 105. But that's still better than the second movie, right?
Yeah, it's
Than the
still
first one,
upward. Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
But yeah, it's that was number one. Number two, Avatar, Way of the Water, still
that's just never going away.
still doing really well. Like
The
it's
GTA
ridiculous.
5 of movies.
And then Puss in Boots was number three. Magic Mike four. Knock at the Cabins five. So yeah, overall, people went to see Ant-Man in general. It's holiday, so got that extra day in there. But yeah, Ant-Man. Tony, did you get to see this?
yes, I did. Overall, I think the critics were way harsher on it than the movie was, in my opinion. Like I went in expecting it to be like just flat out terrible and offensive. Because last year, Thor: Love and Thunder was my most disappointed movie. I was looking forward to it, and the whole time I was like, "Wow, this is bad, guys. This is just
Hmm.
this
Well,
is
the
just
drop off from the Ragnarok to
yeah, it
the
was
fourth
huge.
one.
It was just bad. So like this, I was just like, okay. I mean, I had fun. I laughed a couple times, and got CGI spectacle. If anything, I actually I'm not trying to spoil anything, but the last fight, there's part of it where I was just like, damn, this is actually pretty brutal. Not just like some
Hmm.
CGI, just made up nonsense kind of thing. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool and stuff like that.
Is
But
the last fight with Kang and Jonathan Majors actor or and Ant-Man or just in general like
yeah, like the 1v1 type of
okay.
thing.
Yeah, no, it's
That was pretty brutal in my
I thought
opinion.
Jonathan Majors was really good. I saw it also this weekend and I thought Jonathan Majors was really good in this movie. But but it felt such ice it's kind of isolated like being like the kickoff to phase 5 and um to lead into because we know we're getting Kang Dynasty and coming off of Loki season 1. I felt that this movie was almost standalone-ish. Didn't really to me feel like it was kicking anything off. So that's interesting, and we're definitely gonna have to do a spoil cast 'cause I know Jim got to see it as well, and so we're gonna talk about it next week probably. Mike, you're not gonna get out to
I don't give a shit about
it.
this movie.
Yep. So yeah, we'll do that next week to go into more spoiler discussions and get deeper dive into it because there's some really interesting things and there are implications to what's coming, but um, it felt to me a little bit more isolated.
I mean, I
Is
think
it
Mike,
it's
really like I've seen like clips of it and it just looks like everything is in just CGI world. Like
they are in a
how much
CGI
is it?
world
I mean,
essentially.
you are in
They're,
the quantum verse.
you
Like
know,
how long is that? Was that most of the movie?
That is most
yes.
in the movie, yes.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay.
Yep. No,
I
that's
feel
something
like
we'll
Star
definitely
Wars
talk about.
Episode 2 or something.
But
At least technology's come a little bit further along, and that's not trying to be a real place. Like Quantumania or Quantum Realm is at least you can kind of have like a little bit sense of disbelief because it's more fantastical, and so it makes the CGI a little bit more
yeah,
digestible, I guess you could say.
if anything, I think they definitely did some future setup, like again with his daughter. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, for better or for worse, I don't know. I guess personally, I like that they didn't jump around with like introducing Cassie to like having abilities. Like, I mean, sorry, you find this out in the first 2 minutes of the movie, so it's not that big of a deal.
Well,
But
she's in the poster with a suit
yeah,
on,
yeah,
so
yeah. But I mean, like, I was expecting like, oh, that would be like the reveal at the like the last arc. It's like, oh, it's
uh,
three small people instead. It's like, no, it's right at the start and stuff like that. So
hmm
there you go, just forming that new Avengers roster that I've been talking about for a couple of
yeah,
years. So
it's happening. So
I think her and
yeah,
Kate
but
Bishop would be a good duo. I'd like to see them play
hmm
off each other.
yeah, they'd be good. Like again, I think. Yeah, the Young Avengers is it's gonna happen, and
Or
I
yeah,
think there's
Young
a
Avengers.
lot of young actors there that are exciting. So, but what else, Tony? What have you been watching?
Saw the latest episode of Last of Us, which is very good.
Mhm.
Improvement for me from the previous episode because
Right,
I
we
think I
know.
was
Yeah, you didn't like that one.
it was okay. I was just like, this is the most video gamey one. This
hmm
I felt was very character driven and very narrative, like actor driven.
hmm
Pedro Pascal just delivered an amazing performance. Really, that just like elevates the character itself himself for me. Just in terms of like playing the game, stereotypical like main protagonist, just tough dude like nothing hurts me, nothing slows me down, just mowing down all these dudes, location after location. But this had more grit and more realism to him, and I really respect Pedro's just acting for it, and it makes me feel like that is Joel now rather than Last of Us
Right.
Part One. So there's that. That was impressive. And Ellie's actress continues to just be fantastic in that role, just being that like sassy, loudmouth teenage girl, just with all these quips and one-liners. The one that stuck out to me was like when he was shooting her how to shoot the rifle, and he's like explaining how you got to like hold your breath and like slowly squeeze the trigger while you're exhaling, and she's like, "What? You gonna caress her? Or you gonna get it? You gonna fire this? Or you gonna get it pregnant?" It's just like, damn, like you're crazy for a teenage girl. But yeah, I'm
hmm
continuing to enjoy the show and interested to see if how closely the next 2 episodes will follow the source material.
Yeah, no, and I think because I got to watch that also, and I think that it was an interesting take to jump ahead 3 months here because we do leave the moment the last episode in a very downer moment, and then you jump ahead 3 months, you kind of don't really deal with that at all. uh but I did like that decision just because it brought these characters closer where we see them have more of a relationship or familiarity with each other as well,
Yeah,
and I felt that that worked really well, like you said, character driven here, and then getting to like we're on this journey with these characters and then getting to their destination. It was nice to see Tommy again. He's in the trailer, so he's coming. Good to see Tommy and like then Jackson on screen. But I do like I know you were worried, Tony, was that it was gonna be too similar to the game. Like why do would we need this?
yeah, yeah,
Like I feel like it's definitely gone in its own directions enough where
yeah,
it's not identical to the show to the game,
yeah.
where it's worth having
I
both of
would
them side by side.
I would 100% agree with that, and it was episode 3 that really like sold me on the whole thing because
Right.
I think about I was explaining it to people I saw over the weekend too. I'll get to it in the gaming stuff, but one of the hubbub things everybody's talking about is the show, and I was telling people how like the characters from episode 3, like it was just such a felt so different in the game where it was just kind of like mean spirited and like just
Oh,
overly
he was,
dark
yeah.
and bleak for no reason, just fuck the gays, it's like all right, like okay, yeah, whatever. So yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree
Yeah,
with that
no,
assessment.
yeah, and so like it's been very very good. And like you said, the actors is what's really killing it. Like we
Yeah,
know a lot of the lines, we know a lot of the story beats, but these actors have really brought it to life in a way that is believable and meaningful and like heartfelt. And yeah, they've been killing it, both of them. Like I can't imagine anyone else in these roles at this point. Just the way that their chemistry together is really really good.
mm-hmm. Yep, 100% agree.
Yeah. So, Mike, what have you been getting up to with your viewing?
Not much. I've been watching a little more of the newest season of Young Justice. and for the most part, it's kind of bad. But I'm still going through it.
So sad.
Yeah. I'm just never gonna watch it because my own
No,
head theory is
same.
probably gonna be better, or just
I
having
just
Yeah.
it end where it did.
it's just hard to keep track of everything that was and how it matters now, and especially when it's separated into little 4 episode vignettes, pretty much is how this season is constructed. But finally, around like episode 19 or 20 out of 26, they did an episode where literally two characters in parallel explain everything that's happened so far to another character, um, to sort of actually tie everything together. So I'm like, okay, we have,
Mm.
even though this is silly for a 22-minute episode, that's what this is, but we finally have at least some momentum going forward towards the end of this, so that everything is made to matter a little more than it seemed like it was so far. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's similarly to what was going on in Titans. This is very Superboy focused, even though he doesn't do much. It's about him a lot, which is
Mm.
interest is probably the most interesting part of it. The actual
Yeah.
mini storylines are not that interesting, but so we'll see
Yeah.
how it ends. Some of it,
The first two seasons of Young Justice just some of the best DC
yeah.
animated stuff, and then they just waited too long. Way too
It's
long.
just and it's just I just don't. There's too many clones and alternate timeline versions of characters, and everyone's drawn not that distinctly. So I'm just like, who the fuck? Why am I? And they don't explain anything, and I don't know why. But
Mm.
whatever.
Oh, Churro
th-
chimed in. He said he just started watching Young Justice. It's kind of a
mm,
shame to hear, I think. So, Churro, I would say watch the first two
And
seasons,
stop.
yeah,
and then
Just
the
stop.
the the
yeah.
the last two are it's aware that it's for the same people grown up. So you have the sort of, it feels a little awkward though. They have in the
Mhm.
third season there's a character who regenerates. So they like murder her graphically as many ways as possible just because they can, and then she's fine.
Hmm.
So that's the kind of weird sort of
Yeah.
jarring like jump
Play
to,
with this
oh,
one.
we can do like TV-14 level shit now. But
Yeah.
that's not even the biggest
Stick to the
problem. The
first
biggest
two.
problem is it's just messy. It's just messy.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, there's stuff here and there that is cool, but we'll see. If
Okay.
you're really into like Artemis's family stuff, there's something for you. If you really into like you know, the future, I guess, of Superboy, there's stuff for you. But or Vandal Savage's history on Earth with the Fate and Chaos's battle,
Nah.
yeah, stuff like that.
All that ended with me with that show, season 2.
Yep.
All this is fan fiction.
Like Star Wars Legacy stuff now. It
Yep.
doesn't
Mm.
actually matter. All right, yeah. So let's get into some of the news. Like Jim has posted a few things for us here, and I wanted to start with this because I'm not too sure on the legitimacy of this company, this like news outlet, RPK News 11. But
Sounds
Tony,
good to me.
you said you might have seen it
Some of
posted
the
elsewhere.
Yeah, so the news here, we'll go over that first, is that Tom Holland has apparently signed a huge deal in secret with both Sony and Marvel Studios to be the lead for Avengers Kang Dynasty. And he will also play, Spider-Man in Spider-Man 4, which will be out between Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars.
Mm.
And the only reason I commented on that is just because I have seen some of the usual movie insiders who have gotten a fair good amount of things right. Some things wrong, like any
Mm.
insiders. To at least, I think it's worth, talking about or discussing because,
Right.
and this one I feel has some legitimacy to it in just the way that, I think post Endgame, right? We don't have Iron Man, we don't have Captain America. Those are your two huge leads. Thor kind of, was doing okay, and I think it did respectable numbers, but I don't think Thor's like a leading central
And then he's
man
kind of
kind of
on the
character.
way out.
Right, he's
Like I
kind of, you
think
know,
Chris Hemsworth is the actor himself, not necessarily the character being like retiring, but just him. I think he's not necessarily, especially with his health and everything, he wants to kind of take a step back.
right, exactly. And then, but other than that, you know, that you have no huge actor where, you know, the last phase, phase four, you know, you introduced some new characters. You had, you know, Black Widow, but she, you know, she's gone, stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think this makes the most sense to put like the leading man there who has gotten a $2 billion movie to head up another
Hmm.
one that you want to make, no doubt,
Hmm.
more than $2 billion if you can. Um, just because I think they had to pivot a little bit with um, them trying to position Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther as like probably the character to lead the Avengers into the future, where you had the old characters plus the new ones coming in, and he could be that person in between. But of course, you know, he passed away. They decided not to recast the role, which totally understandable. But now it's kind of like, well, what do you do? Like, sure, he's not definitely not going to do it, you know,
Yep.
even though she's the new Black Panther. So I think this is the best bet for everybody involved in terms of making
Yeah.
money. So can't
No,
blame them.
it's great for Spider-Man fans and for Marvel fans, I think in
That
general,
means
because
I'll have to watch the movie now because I'm a Spider-Man fan and not so much of a MCU fan anymore. But I'll watch some stuff with Spider-Man in it.
no, and Tom Holland has been fantastic. Everything, everything that Spider-Man, Tom Holland stuff has been good, and he's proven to me now that he can lead a movie and like a ensemble film as well. Even though Spider-Man necessarily wasn't an ensemble film, it had like a lot of big name characters, and it was a
Hmm.
big film. So
Yeah.
I feel very confident in his character and kind of maturing. Like where we left him in No Way Home, he kind of matured as a person and who he wants to be or
Hmm.
and be as a hero. So I think that it's a kind of perfect spot for him to kind of be in that lead for an
Yeah.
Avengers film.
Yeah. We even saw, I think, a little bit of hint of that where he was trying to coordinate the other Spider-Man in that final thing. He's like,
Hmm.
we're fighting individually. You got to fight together.
Right.
You know, he's like, I was part of the Avengers. And then he's like, cool. Is that a band? uh,
Exactly. Yeah, so excuse me. The but yeah, you mentioning the fact that there aren't any like standout names or anything that could or should necessarily like Doctor Strange to me probably would have been the only other one maybe because of
yeah.
Cumberbatch being a bigger actor, bigger name. But you don't necessarily see him as a leader either. You don't see him as somebody
Nah.
who's you're gonna follow.
I mean, you
So
you could, but if you probably won't because of the way that movie was
yeah.
received.
But yeah, just like post Endgame, like the movies that came out, when you look at them, like Shang-Chi and the Spider-Man movies were the best ones. Doctor Strange was on the second level there in the middle and
Yep.
I'd say with Ant-Man, Ant-Man I'd put in the middle.
Yeah.
Definitely nowhere near as bad as the critics were saying. And then you have Thor uh, and
Forgot
Eternals.
Black Panther again.
Yeah, well, Black Panther's in the middle for me too, I think. But it's like right there. I think Shang-Chi was a better movie than Black Panther, but I think Black Panther was a very important film, and like Neymar was awesome.
Mhm.
So, yeah, no, it's exciting stuff. So definitely excited to see more Spider-Man, and especially Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Oh,
Speaking of Spider-Man, like, if we want to keep going in that route, apparently there's a rumor that
this is stupid.
Henry Cavill is you know in talks to play a different version of Spider-Man. I don't know what this is all about, but
Just fan cast him in everything and never actually cast him in anything. Just
yeah, the Captain Britain is this Captain Britain version of Spider-Man UK, something like that.
Yep.
Um, I don't know anything about this character, to be honest.
no one does, and this is this is just dumb. But whatever.
The thing is, I do think Cavill probably jumps to the Marvel universe at
One
this
hundred
point.
percent. You know, Feige had to been
Hmm.
like, yo, you want some money?
Hmm.
Come over.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a complete, major nerd, and he loved playing Superman, and I'm sure he'd jump on a chance to be in a Marvel movie. I just don't think Spider-Man UK is the role for him, though. So,
but it would be kind of funny to see somebody that played both Superman and Spider-Man. You know, 2 out of the big 3, right? Or
yeah, yeah.
arguably.
Well, that's fair. That would be interesting. I feel like he needs a bigger, more prominent role if he's gonna be in a Marvel movie.
Something that's not
not some
masked most of
side.
the time.
Yeah, something that's not some side character or something. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you would do that and have it not just feel like stunt casting, though. I really don't. I
No,
don't really think he needs to be in the MCU. I think it's kind of silly, but
I mean, it
whatever.
could just be like a Spider-Verse type thing where it's like he's
yeah.
just a cameo or whatever for.
That's what you would
I
think
mean,
this
that's
would be.
what you'd hope. This, well, not no offense, no offense to Spider-Man UK fans, but you know, but yeah, no. Kuros comes in. He says, "My love for Henry Cavill is very there. I'd be excited regardless." So yeah, I think I agree. I mean, Cavill just him doing stuff. He was everything's been in. He's been great. I mean, he's a good Superman. I'm not a fan of those movies myself, but he's a great actor in them. He was great in Mission Impossible and The Witcher. He loved that character. Put all his effort into making that character the best it could. So anything he would be cast as or if he joins the MCU, whatever, I would be excited to see what it is. Again, just maybe not Spider-Man 2K.
No.
Yeah, so then moving on, we do have some DC news that came out, which
Do
Rumors,
yeah,
allegations.
not news, I should say, but but
Everything is an allegation or rumor from DC.
yeah, so like we know Aquaman has been $1 billion movie, and then nothing happened. We don't know, like it's just disappeared. We know there was a sequel that was made, and then it hasn't, and then kind of you had the Amber Heard issue and all this like stuff coming around, and then obviously DCU Fallout and all that stuff. So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which is what the movie was titled, was supposed to be out like a couple of years ago, I feel like at this point, and then just hasn't come out. And some of the rumors and reasons for that have been that people just did not enjoy it and were walking out of test screenings. And so they need to go back and fix it before it gets released this end of this
Does
year.
it even happen? Who walks out of a test screening? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Like
I don't know if any of this is real, but I wouldn't be surprised if the movie
I mean,
sucks.
I
'Cause
wouldn't be surprised if it was a bad movie. Yeah, I don't know about people
the
walking
first
out of
one
test
wasn't
screenings.
really good. It was just fun, I guess.
Hmm. I mean, it was thing is when you had DC movies being as bad as they were, when you had one that was fine.
Yeah.
I bet it's really what it comes down to is one that was fine. People are really excited because that. And
So
no
it's
offense
better
to
by
Wonder Woman
comparison.
either.
Yeah.
Like Wonder Woman was a fine movie. It had a issue at the end, but like it was fine. It was
Acceptable.
decently
Yeah.
made and yeah, and it did its job, but it wasn't anything, like you've seen with some of the Spider-Man movies or Iron Man movies or even like Ragnarok. It just didn't live up to those
Nah, I
levels.
wouldn't.
They're not forgettable. I mean, it's just forgettable. Is what I meant to say. So, but yeah, I'm hoping because we are getting Flash, we are getting Shazam, we're getting and then we're gonna get Aquaman this year. So we'll see. I don't really have much expectation for Aquaman anymore, and I don't think what's his name, Jason Momoa cares anymore either.
No, I doubt he can.
He's moved on. Like he's gonna be in Fast and the Furious 10, so I think he'll be
Oh
fine.
boy.
And that movie's gonna make
Uh,
more money than Aquaman. So
You think so?
Fast and Furious 10, more movie than like
What's the last Fast
Was it
make?
9 down from 8? I could be wrong.
I think so. I think the
it
last one
might
was
have been.
a
I'm
bit
just
down.
saying, I mean, there's no way Aquaman approaches $1 billion. There's no way.
You don't think? You don't think so? I don't know. Like it depends with the way the water people might just be like, yeah, give me more underwater people shit. Like
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it works for Wakanda Forever.
exactly. Like I need 3
Avatar,
of
so.
these. I need 3.
Oh and Aquaman.
I mean,
Yeah,
I have no hope for it.
mhm,
Personally, yeah, I don't. I just think this year's bad for comic book movies. I mean, Guardians is the only thing I'm
mhm,
looking forward to for the rest of the year
mhm.
for comic book movies. So it's
I mean, Flash. I gotta see what they do with
No,
Michael
I'm
Keaton,
I'm actually
and
cautiously optimistic for the
and
Flash
then you
movie.
got the Batfleck. You know,
oh yeah,
Yeah,
because I love Batfleck and Michael
yeah,
Keaton Batman. Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
exciting, man.
more definitely much more of a curiosity at this point now, especially since it's gonna happen. So, but yeah. And I think that's pretty much all that's newsworthy at this week so far. Um, Thank you for joining us and appreciate you hanging out. If you can, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to get notifications when we go live and when there's a new video because we are on YouTube the following day. And we do this live on Tuesday nights starting around 8 o'clock. As long as there's no technical issues, we usually get started right around 8ish. And then excuse me. And then yeah, check us out on any podcast audio devices. That way you can beam us into your ears anytime. But for now, I mean, I usually listen to podcasts. That's how I usually go. So, but yeah, so we'll be here next week for Moviecast. But if you're gonna stick around, we will be doing the Gamecast following this right away. So we'll see you next time.